called retribution or karma, called karma in the East. Whatever you put out will come back to you and more. And in one sense you can guide people, but if you are, you're only doing so in the sense that you're an instrument of God's will. And it reminds me of Yasin, which I've been reading a lot. Whether you warn them or you warn them not, they will not believe. So people who are going to believe will believe, and people who aren't going to believe aren't going to believe. And you may be there as an intermediary. You may be the first one to stick the Koran in their hand, but it's not in their heart to believe it. They're not going to believe it anyway. So it's basically, again, all power is to God, basically. Charity shall go to the poor who are persecuted because of their belief and trapped. Those who are unaware, those who are unaware may think that they are rich due to their honorable character, and you can recognize them by certain signs. They never annoy the people by begging, and any charity you give, God is fully aware of. Those who give charity by night and by day, secretly and publicly, their recompense is with the Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. In Morocco, there are people who bug you about charity. They're professional beggars. I mean, they may not even be poor. I vividly remember one woman in Marrakesh who could cry at will. She would come up and whether her husband was just lazy and they had money and just said go out and beg if you want something, and maybe they had money. Whereas you just see people, they're just sitting reciting something from the Koran, not even thinking about charity, and people would throw that money. So it's a good illustration. I've seen both
sides. Some of them are very rich. Some of them died and they found mattresses stuffed with money. They're professional beggars.
So it's basically more about the laws of charity. People who are persecuted because of their belief and trapped.
That's right.
So it's just again saying that charity is a good thing and it's one of the 5 pillars, and it explains a little bit more about faith. There we go.
Get back to Rashid.
These 3 lines are about 3 ayahs are about charity and the poor who are persecuted for their belief and trapped. What does that mean in Arabic?
Well, they can't immigrate, move to another place where they can
earn a
business. Some people are trapped in their properties and just can't move around.
I just think of all the people who I've seen chanting, and one man was who I remember was had the most beautiful voice, and he would just stand in the street and recite from the Quran. He was blind, and he didn't seem like he ever wanted charity. People would feed him and they would get him what he wanted. He didn't seem like he cared or not, and you just felt really good when you gave something to him. And then there were these professional beggars who would just go around and
I like that.
they just go around and you didn't know if they were really, I suppose if you were a tourist and you didn't live there very long, you wouldn't really know for sure, but and on the other hand, if you've ever been to Marrakesh, you know that if you feed all the beggars in Marrakesh, you'll be a beggar yourself. It's really in Morocco and in the East, begging is not illegal. I mean, it's actually something that people do professionally. So I think these 3 verses are making a distinction. Here you can't just go around and ask people for money, for a handout. You're considered a bum or a transient or something like that. It's really, you can be arrested for vagrancy or something like that.
That's right.
In
You know, they put, no. They play guitar and they
Well, that's really them begging, though. I mean, they're doing something. Just the predominance of begging, all right? It's not very predominant in this country compared to. It's just not very predominant to see people standing around on the street with a, you know, with a.
Over there they didn't have social security or welfare.
And you'll see another guy with his showing his stump off, you know, to show what, you know, no leg. Make sure you see it, you know, or somebody walks up to you and shows you that he doesn't have any arms, and he wants to. It's a different.
Some of these professional beggars will actually cut their leg to do that.
So it's really the people who are persecuted because of what they believe that deserve charity the most. You can recognize them by their signs. Okay, they never annoy people by begging. And these beggars can be very very much of a nuisance.
You think that beggars in Morocco should go to India? And they can be champion runners, I tell you that. I remember I was riding in what's the name of those carts that people pull? Rickshaw, right? Rickshaw. I was riding in a rickshaw that was pulled by a motorcycle, maybe a modern. We didn't have human beings pulling them anymore. And the streets are crowded, and I must have had like 12 beggars follow me, you know, wherever I go.
Must have looked successful.
Speaking in Hindu, you know, very fast. Of course, extending their hand, you know, they're beggars. But then I get in the rickshaw, and the driver goes very fast, and the 12 boys are still around the rickshaw. and then he go really fast, and we'll get rid of the horses for about a minute, and then he'll slow down because of the crowd, just a minute, and here at 12 again. They run for an hour after the station. They're very fast. Runners. Really, I mean, they can win marathons and make millions of dollars in this country. But that's nothing compared to Morocco. And now in Egypt, we had lots of beggars until Nasser came and he wiped out that disease. He put them all in jail. I mean, he didn't give him any help. Yeah, he was that kind. Yeah, was that kind of dictator. You know, just no more beggars in Egypt. Put them all in prison. There they go. I think, yeah, that's what they do here too.
Nice vagrancy, or you know, whatever you want to call it. You can't just go. If you're playing a musical instrument, well, then you're a street entertainer. If you just walk around and say you got a dime, you know, or a quarter, or $5.
Go to Los Angeles Airport. But I think they have from the group. Those are the Christians. Or the Moonies. Los Angeles, yeah.
Probably it could be Martin Lashley's group. He's got doing that 10-year-old guru who's now 27 and that.
No. San Francisco is full of people who are actually entertainers, like you said. Very talented. They juggle things. Some of them will jump from 100 feet up into a pail of water. You know, this kind of I mean, they're risking their life, and you really have to pay them.
What's this? Oh, no.
Some magicians, musicians, really talented.
You know, I did that for charity one time. I was helping a charitable organization.